You saw that with our classes, we've been annotating them with add component right here. So let's understand what exactly this does for us. So when we annotate a class with add component, Spring creates a new instance of the class being annotated. So in this case, customer repository. If we open up the customer service, you see right here, we also have add component, and basically we are getting a new instance of this class right here. So when we instantiate these beans, they have scopes. So the default scope, when we annotate this class, Spring goes off and creates a new instance of this class, and the scope is singleton. So it's actually using the singleton design pattern, which means that if you inject, so here, so as we auto-wired, so if we inject it into another constructor, you are getting the same instance instead of creating multiple instances. So here inside of the customer controller, so we injected the customer service right here. So this is one instance, but if we were to have another controller and then do the exact same thing, we would be injecting the exact same instance. So here, so this guy right here. And effectively what it's doing behind the scenes is using the new keyword for us, but everything is managed through dependency injection. So we don't have to worry about what the lifespan of this object will be, because Spring is managing that for us. We have different scopes such as prototype, request, and session, and those you will not use them as often as the single-to-one, which is a default, by annotating a class in here. So again, all this is doing is actually creating an instance of this class right here. And this annotation right here is a superset of all of these beans right here. So what I mean by that is for each class type, or in here, we've been implementing the N-tier architecture, right? So we have the service, we have the data layer, we have the REST layer. So for each of these classes, we can use a more specific annotation. So here we can say add and then service. There we go. So add service and add component is the exact same thing, right? So you can see there, add and then component is on that list there. But saying add service, we are being more specific and telling that this class is meant to be used as a service. And if we open up the fake repository right here, also you saw that we said add component, but we can change this to say add and then repository. Let's do the same for the customer repository. So here, instead of saying add component, I'm going to say add and then repository. So this is a much better naming convention. And then inside of the customer controller, check this out, add and then REST controller. So you can see that now we actually implemented the N-tier architecture correctly using the right naming conventions, structuring the code properly, and this is how a Spring Boot application should look like. So this annotation, in fact, is special because it allows us to send HTTP requests into it by using these annotations at get mapping, at put mapping, post mapping, so on and so forth. So there we go. So you know about the annotations right here. So REST controller and then repository, or actually at repository and then at service, and you know what they're doing behind the scenes. So basically they are creating a new instance that we can then inject. That's why you can see in here. So I've got this icon. If I click on it, you can see that this is actually injected into customer controller and depends on customer repository. So this is one of the nice features about the Ultimate Edition. So there you have it. So now you know about beans and the associated annotations with it. Next, let me go ahead and show you how to create a custom bean.